I want to start off by saying that how I got here, I drove my car. No, I got an email from Carrie Roth back in December. It was right before the holidays. And the email I opened up, and Carrie and I have been friends for a long time. We're always busting each other. So I get the email and I open it up and it says, you've been nominated to do the last lecture. And that's all I read. There was much more to it than that. And I stopped there because he knows that I'm retiring in the next year. So I thought he was kind of just busting me. So I didn't think anything of it. So Christmas goes by, we start our convocation in January, and our little rah-rah thing where, you know, the administration tells us how wonderful we are. So they do that, we get done, and I run into Carrie at the end, and he says, hey, you never responded back to me. I sent you a note out that you were nominated for this last lecture. And I said, you were serious? He says, yeah, I was serious. I didn't know what it was. So I said, well, tell me about it. He said, well, we have this little thing where some students will nominate a professor. And by the way, that one student that nominated me, if you're here, thank you so much. Was it Carlos? Was it you? No? Anyway, so I said, well, he said, well, yeah, we want you to do this. You don't have to do it, but you know, if you want to do it, you can. So I said, well, let me think about it. I'll probably do it, but you know, what am I going to talk about? You know, I'm just a chef out here, a chef instructor, right? And by the way, my name is Joe Harrold, and I'm one of the chef instructors here in the Culinary Arts Department. So I went home that night and I thought about it, and I said, yeah, I'll do it, why not? I got 1 year left. I've been at this college for 30 years. I might as well end with a bang. Hopefully it's not my last lecture, but it's getting close, right? So I thought about it, and I was thinking, what have I been doing my whole career? Right? And my whole career, what I've been doing is really telling people to step outside their comfort zone without using that terminology, right? I've been asking, you know, oh, I want to go get a job at this restaurant, but I'm scared. No, you got to go do it. Our students do interns. They do 600 hours of interns, and I get to push them, get out of Jacksonville, try something else, try something new. And I've been doing this for a long time and kind of telling them to step outside their comfort zone without really saying it. So I thought, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'll talk about how I've been doing this. I'm going to tell you a couple stories, and we're going to start with myself, how I've been really stepping outside my comfort zone. As I really thought about myself, I'm kind of like the king of stepping outside his comfort zone, and 3/4 of it not even knowing. A lot of us do step outside our comfort zone and don't even know it until certain big things come up, and then you realize it. So I'd probably say 3/4 of what I've done in my career, I have stepped outside my comfort zone without knowing it, even though you know it was. And it was a couple little things I'm going to talk about that I really, really, truly had to think about. Saying, yeah, this is whether I use this terminology or I was like afraid. So what does stepping outside your comfort zone mean, right? Comfort, you step outside, right? You're uncomfortable, right? It's a fear factor. We all go through it. We all do it one way or the other. If you don't do it, hopefully after we get done today, you possibly will do it, okay? So let's start with me. And I want to start when I was 18 years old. How many years ago was that, Bill? About 150 years ago. Now, I'm 65 years old, but I'm going to start then, even though I've probably been stepping outside my comfort zone since I was born. But when I was 18, when I was in high school, I wasn't a very good student. Can anyone relate to that? I wasn't. I didn't really apply myself. Not that I was stupid, I just didn't apply myself. And the biggest thing, what I wanted to do, I played in a rock and roll band. And I played in a band for 4 years, and that's all I wanted to do was play music and hang out with my friends. So I didn't do very well in school. I got by, and I passed. So all of a sudden, I look up, and guess what? I graduated. Now what do? I didn't apply myself, so I wasn't ready for college. I really didn't know how to do anything. You know, I didn't have really a trade. So what's the next best thing to do, right? I bought an old Coca-Cola van, one of those old vans, put a bed in the back. I found a friend of mine that was in the same situation, and I said, let's take a ride out west. So I had a connection in Tucson, Arizona, so it wasn't just driving out there, but I did have a little connection. We hopped in a van, drove out west, went to all these different states. We picked some guy up hitchhiking. We took him to Colorado, University of Colorado. This is the day when people hitchhiked, back in the 70s, right? People used to hitchhike. And you didn't think anything of it, pick him up. He could have been a mass murderer, but you know. Anyway, we dropped him off at Colorado, spent a few days there. And at this point, we had this little bed in the back of the van, and Yeah, that's where I would sleep, or he would sleep, or we sleep outside the van. So to me, I'm this 18-year-old kid. I grew up in Philadelphia. So we left Philadelphia. All this was new to me. Hitting every state as it changed, it was like, oh my God, this is great. You know, it was so exciting. But also it was a little bit fearful. You know, it was like I didn't really think of this, because you don't when you're 18 years old. You don't think of very much. But it really truly was stepping outside my comfort zone. So we finally make it to Tucson. I make it down to Tucson, and my connection was my sister's boyfriend was opening up a juice restaurant bar, I guess you could call it. This is days before smoothies too. So it was on the campus of the University of Arizona, and it was called the Best Life Juice Company. And my job was to squeeze hundreds of cases of orange juice every day, and then do carrot juice, and then do mango juice, do every type of juice possible. And they also serve sandwiches and salads. So I was kind of doing that. So I literally stayed about 2.5, 3 years in Tucson. But while I was in Tucson, I started, as I always say, what I was doing. People say, why, at 18 years old, why did you go out to Tucson? Why did you do this? I was finding myself, right? It was the days, it was the 70s, right? I wasn't ready for college, so I was just discovering myself, right? And I sure did. I had a good time. So when I was there, I said, you know what, let me try this college thing. You know, there was a community college in Tucson called Pima Community College, and I enrolled in Pima. And I kind of enrolled in classes. Of course, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and they signed me up for social work, under the term social work. And I was taking all these courses in social work, and I hated it. It just was so boring to me. Excuse me if anyone wants to be a social worker, God bless you. It just was not for me. But I took some classes just to see what college was like, and yeah, I wasn't very good. I still was partying and having a good time. It was like my college, but without going to college when I was in Arizona. So I kept saying to myself, well, okay, I did this for 2 years. I kind of was partying, having a good time. I gotta come up with something. I gotta come up with a career that I can get work in. So what do I like to do? It all kept coming back to food or working in restaurants. When I was 13 years old, I was a pot washer at an all-night diner in Philadelphia. We worked from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. Best job I ever had. All my friends did it just to watch the fights and drink Coke for free. We got 50 cents an hour. I did it because I actually liked it. And the cook would say, oh, bread this or do that. I liked the smell of the kitchen, liked everything about it. So when I was deciding, well, I think maybe, it always came back. I took a food course in high school. Maybe I want to be a chef, go be a cook, and then eventually maybe move up to be a chef. So what I did, I went to the University of Arizona Library, and librarian, you'll appreciate this. There wasn't email, there wasn't computers, right, in 1976. I had hair. No, there weren't computers, there wasn't cell phones, so I literally had to go to the librarian and say, look, I'm thinking about I want to become a chef. Tell me about where there's some culinary schools. Well, guess what? There were 2 culinary schools in the whole United States. Now, I can give you a little stat here. Today, there's about 3,000 to 4,000. 1976, there were 2. So it was the Culinary Institute of America, which CIA, and Johnson & Wales University, which is in Providence, Rhode Island. So what did I do? I loaded up that old Coca-Cola van again, drove back across country to Philadelphia. Now, it's the summer of 1976. Does anyone remember what that was? It was the bicentennial. Guess where I was? In Philadelphia, the home of the signing of the Declaration, right? I worked as a pot washer that summer. But when I got back, I applied to the Culinary Institute of America. I'm all excited. I said, now I'm going to go to culinary school. I'm going to have a career. I get a letter back from them saying, sorry, but you're going to have to wait 8 months to a year. There was a waiting list to get in. You don't tell a 20-year-old kid who saved $2,000 that they had to wait a year. That would have been long gone, and I would probably have been back in Arizona. So I said, well, let me hop in my car, marched up, drove up to Providence, which is about 6 hours from Philadelphia, talked to the admissions people. They said, yeah, we'll take you in September. And I'm like, yes. And the only reason they took me because they had just opened and they needed students. Literally, Johnson Wales only opened in 73 for culinary, and I was gone in 76. So now you have a waiting list probably to get in, or have to wait and have a GPA and everything else. Thank God that they took me because I had no GPA. So they did take me, went back to Philly for the summer, and worked as a pot washer, and then went up. So I drive myself up to Providence in the fall, and again, I'm a 21-year-old kid who had some experience. I lived on my own for 3 years. I drove this van across West. I thought I was a big shot. I get to Johnson & Wales, and parents are dropping their kids off, and they're crying. I'm like, I'm by myself. I'm like, where am I supposed to go here? So they pointed me to a dorm. I go into the dorm, and I started school. So I started school. It was a 2-year program. It was an associate's degree in culinary arts. I worked part-time, anywhere from 20 to 30 hours a week at a little Italian restaurant. And so from there, I get ready to graduate. We had some people come over to start, job people, recruiting, and I see this thing, Eggertown Yacht Club on Martha's Vineyard. Everyone know where Martha's Vineyard is? It's a little island off of Cape Cod. It's really considered Massachusetts. So here I go again, doing this, stepping outside my comfort zone and not really realizing that I'm doing it. Not, saying, I'm stepping out my comfort zone, I'm gonna go do this. I just did it. Was I scared a little bit? Sure, everything's a little bit scary, doing that. So I went over to Martha's Vineyard, and I spent 2 years there working under a chef. And so I worked under that chef for 2 years, and towards the end of that, there was a waiter that I worked with. His name was Rusty Romo. And Rusty said to me, it was the end of our season. He said, I'm getting ready to open a restaurant in Annapolis, Maryland. Would you be interested in being my cook or helping me, whatever? I'm like, here I am. At this point, I'm like 23. Yeah, I'm ready. I'll do it. Why not? So he said, well, a couple things. It's not open. I can't pay you right now, but I can do this. I can house you and I can feed you. I said, fine. I'm fine with that. Here I go again, stepping outside my comfort zone, right? So I drive from Martha's Vineyard down to Annapolis, Maryland. Guess where he houses me? On a sailboat. He says, oh, this is your house. So I stayed on this sailboat on the harbor, washed up in the marina. He would feed me, throw hot dogs at me or whatever. So he fed me. So, and then I got to work with the chef a little bit. Again, now the restaurant's still not open. You have to understand that. So a week go by, 2 weeks. Now I'm thinking going down there within 2 weeks, this restaurant's gonna be up and running. 3 weeks go by, it's not running. I'm like, Rusty, again, I got a couple dollars I saved, but I'm starting to run out of money. 4th week runs by, I'm still living on a sailboat, still getting hot dogs thrown at me. I said, Rusty, I can't do it. No offense. And it wasn't his fault. There was some legal stuff that was happening that he couldn't do it. I said, I'm going to go back to Philly. And I went back to Philly, and I got a job with a food service company. And it was my first chef's job. So, again, not necessarily stepping outside my comfort zone, but if you think of comfort zone being fear, it was fearful for like 24, 25-year-old. Was I ready to be the chef? Probably not. But you know what? I did it anyway. I jumped in and did it. And I stayed with that company for 7 years. And if you don't know what a food service company is, they run hospital, food service, colleges. We ran the whole Philadelphia school system. They have executive dining rooms in big office buildings. And this one happened to have a little fine dining division as well. So the first few years, I was a chef in a hospital. I was a chef at executive dining. I ran their fine dining restaurant for a few years. And my last year with them, I was the corporate chef. And they had about 95 to 100 counts with Philadelphia, New Jersey. We had a couple counts in D.C. And I got to go to D.C. twice every week for 2 days. And I was starting to do training. So I did that. And my 7 years, I don't say my 7 years was up, but I hit 7 years. And I decided I wanted to try something else. So from there, I went into country clubs. And I was an executive chef in country clubs for 5.5 years within the Philadelphia area. So I did that, and then after that, while I was working in the country clubs, I was very active in the American Culinary Federation's local chapter in Philadelphia. And they run what's called a chef apprenticeship program at the Community College of Philadelphia. So I'm at a meeting one night, and the guy that's in charge of this apprenticeship program goes, hey, Joe, would you like to teach? We need someone to teach these apprentices. They only come to school on Monday, and then they work the rest of the week. I'm like, well, I don't know. I never really taught before besides in the kitchens. He said, oh, you'd be great at it. You need to try it. Guess what day off I had? Monday. That's the only day off I had was Monday. But I did it. Again, going back to not only stepping outside my comfort zone, but not being afraid to try something new. Now, obviously, teaching is completely different, even if it's culinary arts, than working in a kitchen. In a kitchen, I'm teaching you all that you need to do this and do that. But when you're teaching in a college setting, you're doing this. You're in front of people, you're talking, you have lesson plans, you do all of that stuff. So it's completely different. It was something new for me, but I wanted to try it. So I did it. And I did it just part-time, just that one day a week for one semester. And the director of the program said to me, hey, we kind of like you. We're getting ready to open up a full-time position. Would you be interested in that? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like I'm a chef, blah, blah, blah. It's a little less money than working. I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. I don't know. Let me think about it. So I go home and talk to my wife. And my wife said, yeah, go ahead, try it. It's something new, whatever. Let's give it a shot. So I did. And I went to community college, and I worked there for 3 years. And I worked there for 3 years teaching the chef apprenticeship program and also the hotel restaurant management students who had to take cooking classes. So while I was there running this apprenticeship program, we got all our information, our testing, our books, all came from the American Culinary Federation, which their headquarters happens to be in St. Augustine, Florida, which is really bizarre, but it was. So I got to know the director of education by calling him up and ordering these books. So anyone been in Pennsylvania before? Then when I use this term, you know what I'm talking about. It was a PA gray day in Pennsylvania. And what I mean by that, it's always gray and not very sunny like it is here in Florida. So I'm talking to the director, and I just happened to say to him, you travel around the country to all these culinary schools. Are there any jobs where it's warm? And I was kind of joking around. And he said, yeah, as a matter of fact, we're getting ready to open a culinary school right here in Jacksonville. I'm on the hiring committee, but there's like 10 people on it. I've seen the resumes. You're as qualified as anyone else. Send your resume down. Here I go again, right? I'm on the move. And I kind of did it half joking. I looked at my wife and she said, God, if not anything, maybe we'll get a free trip to Florida. A couple of weeks later after I sent my resume, I get a phone call. We want to interview you. We're going to fly you down to Jacksonville. And I hope I don't insult anyone from Jacksonville when I say this. Remember I talked before about I wasn't very good in high school? Well, I failed geography. I had no idea where Jacksonville was. I heard of it. I didn't know where it was located in Florida. It could have been in the Keys for all I know. I get a map out and I start looking where Jacksonville was. So my wife goes, I don't care, it's warm. We're getting out of Pennsylvania. So we hop on the plane, we come down here for the interview. 43 people applied for that job, and they narrowed it down to 4. And somehow I was one of them. So the interview was pretty intense. We started like 9 in the morning, about 6 or 7 at night, it was over. And it started, now those who don't know, the culinary program used to be on North Campus, and they had just built this building for the culinary. There was nothing in it, it was just there. So I came in for the interview. We did teaching demonstrations, cooking demonstrations. Then the next piece, I never had been on an interview where all 4 candidates sat in the same room and they called each one of us out to go do it. And there was 10 people on the hiring committee. So not only were they each asking us questions, we had to do a cooking demonstration, a teaching demonstration, submit a lesson plan and all that. So we did all that, get done, get back, on the plane back to Philadelphia. My wife's like, what do you think? Whatever. We got a free trip to Florida. You're pessimistic, right? You're not really thinking positive. So I get home. Now here I go. I'm going to really date myself again. We had an answering machine, right? Does anybody remember answering machines? Anybody old enough to remember? We didn't have phones, but we had answering. So I get home. The red light's buzzing on the answering machine. I hit it, and it's the dean. She said, could you call me right away? I said, oh, my God. They saw me take that pot. No, I didn't take a pot. That was a joke. Thanks for laughing. But anyway, the way she said it, like, you need to call me right away, like something's wrong. I said, okay. So my wife and I are laughing, and I call up, and she said, oh, hi. She said, well, we made our decision. We met as a committee, and we'd like to offer you the position. But when my wife said, your face went completely white. She was standing right there, went completely white on the phone, right? I'm like, oh, my gosh, I said, well, I'm stutter stepping, right? I said, when do you need to know? She said, in 3 days. Now, you have to understand this. I just bought a house. I have a 4-year-old, 7-year-old. My wife just got the dream job of hers. I had a job that was fine and happy. So now, this is where I truly had to step outside my comfort zone. Probably that and the teaching was a little bit too, but this was truly the time where I had to really think about what I'm doing. It was all the other time was reactions. Yes, it was stepping outside my comfort zone, but it was really like, adventurous, right? This was a little more than adventurous, right? So I was moving my whole family 850 miles away, don't know a single person in Jacksonville. When our parents were alive, we had the only grandchildren out of 7 kids. So we're ripping the grandchildren away from so I said to my wife, so what do you think? Now, as I said earlier, that I was the king of stepping outside the comfort zone, my wife is absolutely the queen of stepping outside her comfort zone. When my wife graduated college, when she was 24 years old, she moved to Africa to teach in Libya, of all places, right? So she lived in Libya for 3 years. She taught in Vietnam for a while. She's traveled Europe by herself backpacking. So she's way more adventurous than I am, right? So she's the queen of stepping outside her comfort zone. So when I said to her, what do you think? She goes, what do you mean? There's nothing to think about. Let's do it, right? So again, all of this, why I'm saying this, the point to give you like is don't be afraid to do something, right? So I did it. Hey, I could have come here and hated it. I mean, I came down here for the first month by myself while my wife and kids, she kind of get the house together. And I said to her, let's not sell the house. Let's just rent it. We may get down there and hate it. We can always come back and go back to our jobs, right? We came down, and that was, I came down July 8th, 1990. I think it worked out. I think the job worked out 30 years later, right? So again, going back to the point, if I was afraid to step outside my comfort zone, right, I would have never had this wonderful job that I'm going to retire this time next year with a pension and go live on a sailboat in Annapolis, Maryland. No, but no, I mean, it's like, my whole point of all this talk is don't be afraid to do something. We're all afraid to do something, even though it's fearful, but you got to try it. You got to try something. So that was 30 years ago. So that's a little bit about me, how I stepped outside my comfort zone for a while. What I want to talk to you about too is some students and some things that have arrived in our program that I really think the students have stepped outside their comfort zone, and with a little bit of encouragement from me. So about 9 years ago, this company, Xanterra company, called me and emailed me. And they are a large food service company that runs all the national parks in the country. And their biggest one is in Yellowstone National Park. You've all heard of Yellowstone. It's in Wyoming. They said, we hire students for internships. And by the way, our students, I was saying earlier, our students have to take 600 hours of internship, but we hire students as interns, or we just hire students for the season, and their season is about May to the end of August. So here I am, I'm getting excited, right? Like, okay, I pump my students up to try something new, try something different. I go back to the class, I feed them all this information. Yellowstone, you could go out there and hang out with the grizzly bears, like you can have a great time. You'll meet people they hire people from all around the world, not just the United States. Plus, you'll fulfill your internship hours. And they all stared at me like you're staring at me with blank looks on your face. I don't think I scored on this one. So class is over. This woman comes up to me that's in my class, and I say a woman, she was 35, 40 years old, and she says, I think I want to do it. I said, oh, really? She goes, yeah, but I have one problem. And I said, what's the problem? She goes, I'm scared to death. I've never left Jacksonville. And I'm like, you're gone. You're gone, and you're going to get my support no matter what. And so she was scared to death. And so she goes out to Yellowstone, and she spends the 4 months not only doing her internship, but working. She said the first 2 weeks she was deadly homesick. Then she started getting into it, doing hiking, seeing grizzlies, meeting people from all around the world. She comes back. I see her in the hallway. She comes running up to me and gives me a big hug and says, thank you so much. That was a life-changing moment for me. I would have never done this. It wasn't just me, but like you gave me the nudge to what? To step outside our comfort zone, right? To try something new. So that was 8, 9 years ago. Since then, we've been sending 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 1 year we'd send 5 out to Yellowstone. And every one of them had the same experience. No one quit. No one went out and quit. They all finished, and they all came back, and almost all of them said the same thing. Thank you for pushing. That was really an incredible experience. Now comes the second one. 4 years ago, I'm in the kitchens teaching. We get a knock on the back door. I open the back door. There's a little lady sitting there. She goes, hello, I'm Kim Stanford. I'm the human resource person for Princess Holland Cruise Line in Alaska. We have 11 hotels and 15 trains, and we want to hire your students as interns and have come work the season, similar to Yellowstone, from May to September. I grabbed her. I said, get in the classroom. And I said, get in here and talk to the students. I said, sure, you can talk to the students. Does the same thing, talks to the students after class. In my mind, I'm thinking, no way. There's no way I would get anybody to go to Alaska. She gets done, she does her spiel. I was like saying, I think I want to go. It sounded really good to me. It sounded really fun and adventurous. And so she leaves. I got 13 students to sign up to go to Alaska that summer. 13. So Kim calls me and says, I travel all Canada, all the United States recruiting. We're lucky if we get one. And most of the time we don't get any. You're sending me 13 students? I said, I don't know. You must have said something to spark their interest. Of course, I pushed them a little bit, but you must have said something to spark their interest. So out of the 13 that went up to Alaska 4 years ago, only one dropped out. And the one that dropped out, he only stayed 2 or 3 weeks, which one totally shocked me. Because I could pick, I know my students after a while, and I'm like, nah, yeah, don't make it. You'll make, no, that one won't. They just won't do it. And the one that I really thought would, he was a retired Navy guy, he's lived all over the world. He lasted 3 weeks and took off. And he was a little bit older, and it's mostly 20-year-olds to 25-year-olds. Yes, there's some older people, but mostly it's college age because he probably couldn't handle it. But the 12 that stayed had an incredible time. You know, the same scenario as they came back from Yellowstone. Like, thank you so much. You know, when they go up there, not only are they working a lot, getting their internship hours, but I can tell you some of the stuff they do. They land on glaciers and airplanes. They do zip lining. They go through the parks to see the wild animals. They get to go on trains. So they get to do other stuff. So it's not only just learning the food, they get to see a lot, and what a life experience. So every one of these guys who were doing this, without a doubt, were doing this. They were stepping outside their comfort zone, even though they felt like I can do this. You're still a little bit fearful, but they did it. So I was very proud and excited about that one. So we've been doing that for a few years, and so a lot of this going to Alaska and Yellowstone has to do with internship. So in the fall of 2018, I did a sabbatical from school. I've been here, well, this is my 30s. It was like 27 years I was here. So I decided to do a sabbatical. And my sabbatical was on what I called unconventional internships or unusual interns. So what I did was I went around to find new places where students could do interns. And when I say by unconventional, if I would say to you guys, you're a culinary student, right? Where would a culinary student do an internship? Where would you just think? A restaurant, exactly. In a restaurant locally here in Jacksonville, which is right, and a lot of them do, and that's fine. I'm looking for something a little bit outside the box because not all our culinary students are staying in restaurants. And you'll see, I'm going to show you a little tiny video of some of the places where they go and what they can do. So we wanted them to try just to do something else. So what I'm going to do is show you a small video, a 5-minute video. I picked 5 students that I thought did unconventional interns, and they're going to talk about what they did. And what I want you to listen for is the excitement in their voices and how excited they were to do it, even though they voluntarily, and I pushed them a little bit, but they voluntarily did it, but they truly were definitely stepping outside their comfort zone. So I'm going to show you this for 5 minutes and take a look at that. So if you could shut some of the lights off. Hello, my name is Chef Joe Harrold. I am an internship coordinator here at Florida State College of Jacksonville in the School of Culinary Arts. The following video was 5 students describing how and where they did their unconventional internship. I hope you find these videos informative when choosing your internship here at the School of Culinary Arts. Thanks and enjoy the videos.
Hello, my name is Melinda Gregory and I did my internship on a train in Alaska. Why did I do that? Well, I mean, it's like a dream destination, and I had the opportunity to learn more about this field in Alaska, of all places, so I jumped on the opportunity. It came about because I saw some posters in on our bulletin board, and I called the number to see what it was about, and I got more and more interested the more I learned about it, and well, I just went for it. I believe it was successful for me because I was determined to get something out of it no matter what. It kind of speaks for itself to say you could stay here and you could do the normal thing that you would do every day. However, how often do you get this opportunity? I say jump on it and go for it. Any experience at all it's going to make me a better person, which in turn is going to make me more excited about this career that I'm choosing. It's just anything that I learned at all is just going to drive me more into it. It's exciting.
Hi, my name is Dean Miller, and I interned at Clara White Mission. Basically, it's a missionary that provides both meals for the community as well as housing and meals for the veterans as well. The reason why I chose Clara White was because that's where I started. They basically gave me the basics, and it was challenging at the time, but then as I progressed, I realized I got better at it and desired to take it to the next step. When I came to FSCJ, my knowledge expanded vastly. I saw the opportunity where I could take that back to Clara White and actually show them stuff that, how they could achieve, how much more they could achieve. So I think I would say it was a success for me personally, both as a person and as an aspiring chef.
My name is Connie Pecker, and I'm an intern at the North Florida School of Special Education and Very Good Farms. It's been a wonderful experience for me. I'm working with students that have special needs, that have an interest in the culinary field. I was looking for something a little different. I had an interest in, maybe doing some teaching, working with a student population. The North Florida School of Special Education has a relationship here with FSCJ, and through my professors, I was able to make some connections there. Spent a little time there, really bonded with the students, and thought that it would be a good fit. Well, when you're working with the students and they're getting it, and you feel like you're really able to teach them something, and they're smiling and you're smiling, you can't beat that. That's what it's all about. It's not your traditional internship, but really I've learned so much from it.
My name is David Zorn. I interned at Strohana Hagfish Hotel and Spa in Östersund, Sweden. My personal heritage is Scandinavian, so when I was going through this program, we got to decide where we want to do internships. I originally started looking at Norway, Sweden, Finland, all those areas. So I was able to get an internship at a hotel, spa, and restaurant over in Östersund, Sweden. I love the whole farm-to-table movement that's here in America, and there's restaurants over there that they forage off the land. At the hotel I was at, I was able to walk up the hill, pick lingonberries off the ground, take them into the hotel, clean them up, and use them in their dishes on a daily basis. I suggest to all the students out there, get out and find something that you really truly believed in, or where you want to eat, or what do you desire to find, and get out there and find that. Don't stick to what you think is going to make you a TV chef right off the bat, or make you popular at a local fancy restaurant. Get out there and find your own ground and plant your own feet somewhere. Become your own chef.
My name is Christian Guzman, and I intern in restaurant My Pajamas, 2 Michelin stars in Spain. Possibly the best thing I've ever done in my life. I got a chance to go to Restaurante Miramar over in Jansan, Spain, over on the coast, and it was just amazing. It was more than I expected. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I don't regret it at all, and it prepares you a lot. So definitely worth the time. You have to work hard, volunteer, study, do the homework. Everything that you don't think matters really does matter, and at the end, all that hard work is going to be paid off. You're going to end up getting the respect just by pushing.
So, what do you think of that? 5 students, right? So if you think about what they did, right? Went to Spain. I'd say that's stepping outside your comfort zone, right? Went to Sweden. The one who went to Sweden also went to Yellowstone for his first internship. So he's really adventurous, right? And willing to step outside his comfort zone. What he didn't say, I had a Swedish student back in 1992 when he asked me he wanted to go to Sweden. I'm still friends with that student. I gave him a call and he said, yeah, I'll house him and I'll get him a job. So it's always good to have connections, right? Someone on a train in Alaska. Would you think about doing an internship on a train? So she got to do the Alaska trip, right? And then someone working at a Clara White mission, which is a homeless mission. So that's something different, It's not just working in restaurants. Sure, that was a little different for him. And also Connie, who worked at a farm for special needs students, helping them work, Harry.com, and so it was good. So they all did something different. I truly think all of them probably stepped outside their comfort zone for sure. So next, what I want to talk to you about is what I did with the students this semester. I took a couple classes and I had the students do an assignment. And I really didn't tell them I was doing this. I just said, I just want you to do this for me. And I wrote on the top, you know, stepping outside your comfort zone, and I wrote something small, something large, and to write something down. Don't put your name on it, just give it to me. Not a whole lot of people questioned me why I did this, which I thought was kind of interesting. I thought they would. I think, Renee, you may have knew what I was doing, but most of the people didn't really know I was going to be giving this lecture. So what I wanted to do is just share a couple things with you, how people think about how am I going to step outside my comfort zone, make you think about it, and actually I'm going to give you guys an assignment. It's going to take you about 3 or 4 hours, and you're going to stay in class. Now, just when you go home, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to write on the top, stepping outside my comfort zone, something small, something big, or maybe just something after I read some of these things, because everybody has it. You may not think you do, but you do have it. So I'm going to share some of these with you. So I'm going to take my glasses off. Okay, one, this is a small one, relearning a language I forgot. My parents raised me to be bilingual until we returned to the United States. And then this larger one was switching careers and enrolling in the culinary arts program after pursuing a career and leaving Jacksonville. He was in IT and did a completely different thing. So obviously that's stepping outside your comfort zone. Next one, small one, flying in a plane. How many people have never flown in a plane in here? Are you scared to do it? Yeah, so there's a stepping outside your comfort zone. So I'm going to put you in a plane at the end of today. So, I mean, that is a small one. That is definitely a step. You know, some people are petrified of that. I happened to crash in one when I was 16. That's another lecture. Large, maybe cook outside the United States, travel to Europe, countries. The next one, small one, I want to be more sociable and be able to speak to people easier. And I think a lot of people have that. They're afraid to talk to someone, you know, it's like, oh, you know, whatever. So I think that was a good one. And then the last one was there, I want to go to Alaska to do my internship. So that's a big one, and I'm excited. And I think I know who did it, even though his name's not on here, and they are going to Alaska. By the way, I didn't mention about the Alaska. We've been sending people for the last 4 years. This summer, as of last week, we have 8 people going, and probably a couple more going this summer. So that's fabulous, in my opinion. Next one, talking with a large group of people. I think everybody has that somewhat fear. That's why I think a lot of you guys, if you're in an AS program, you take public speaking, and it's done for a reason. I mean, I think most people, very few people, unless you're a stage person, have a little bit of a fear talking in front of people. And the large one, this is pretty bizarre, but it's kind of funny. Being seen with little or no clothes on. Right? That's interesting. I'm glad I put my clothes on when I came in. Small one, going to a movie by myself. I love that one because I think a lot of people think like that. They call a friend up. Do you want to go see a movie? You know, would you ever think, I'm just going to go by myself? Now, I know some people will, but a lot of people won't. So that's a little bit stepping outside your comfort zone. Starting my own business and just worrying about not being good enough to be successful. That's another, I think, a really good one. I love this one. Small one, trying a new hairstyle. I do it all the time. I mean, I try it, it doesn't work. I can't find any to make it work, but yeah, trying a new hairstyle, right? You ladies know that, even you gentlemen know that. Like, it's something new, something, you know, you're a little bit fearful, right? Moving outside of Jacksonville by myself, that's the large one. Again, this is standing in front of a large group of people and giving a speech. A large one, moving to a new state where there are no family or friends. Right? Some of you down the road may get a job out of state and you got to go. You can't bring your mom and dad along and your best friend. Sometimes you just have to go on your own. Right. I've done it numerous times. And I'm not saying it's easy. I wanted to do it, but it's not easy. But it is part of stepping outside your comfort zone. Downhill mountain bike racing in the Alps or West Indies. Well, that's pretty intense. And I love this one, large one. Streaking the eclipse at the White House during the inauguration. Right? Yeah, I think I know who wrote this one. Next one, talking easily with strangers. You know, sometimes you ever notice, and I always have, you go in an elevator, everybody keeps straight ahead, right? Nobody looks next to, like, hi. You know, like they're afraid to say anything, whether elevator or you're just in a line or something. Some people are very talkative, but most people are afraid to do that, to start the conversation. And then going on vacation overseas completely by myself. The next one is a small one, working at a restaurant. Now that may sound kind of funny coming from a culinary student, but we have culinary students that have never worked in a restaurant. So yeah, there's a fear factor. You know, I have to go work in a restaurant, right? If this is what I'm going to be doing, they're a little fearful of it. So I thought that was a good one. And then moving out of the country by themselves. This is an interesting one. I'm going to use this as a general one. Conversations with strangers, reaching out to those who are different than me in age, hobbies, class, religion, etc. So I thought that was a pretty clever one. Then learn to hit a softball. Now, who could that be? That's a great student of mine. So that's a small one. And the large one is to collaborate with research scientists to cure breast cancer by preventing the spread to brain, bone, and lungs. So that's obviously a large one. This is a cute one, small one. Going out in my pajamas. I don't know how many people do that, but that's a little, you know.
My aunt does it all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Does she really? Yeah. I have mine on right now.
I mean, you can do it in Missouri.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
one cares.
Well, actually, in Fernandina, I think the day after Thanksgiving, everyone shops in their pajamas, and you get a 10% discount. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that, but my wife does it with my sister. Anyway, then this is the large one, dancing while sober alone. That was Bill McCool. And then another one, small one, applying for a new job. Now, again, some of the younger students, they may not worked anywhere. Just to go apply, that's a little scary, right? That's stepping outside your comfort zone. Some people may not think anything of that, but it's a big deal for certain people. And then a large one, this person must be going to Alaska too, because it says going to Alaska. Next one, small one, taking up a leadership position. And then moving away from my family. Again, I think that's a really hard one. And the last two, one is read a book per month. Librarian, you'd love that, right? That's perfect. And then this one I love is a large one. Get intentionally lost and try to find your way back home. Right? So I do it all the time. I don't even try it. Somehow Google doesn't talk to me. And I saved the best for last. It's not really the best. And the last one is learn to dance, which is the small one. And this one I love. The large one, take Chef Harold's job when he retires. So they're kicking me out the door, right? So there's my, so I just thought these were kind of interesting. Just share some things that the students wrote, kind of make you think about it when you have to do your assignment, right? And think about just stepping outside your comfort zone. So I'm going to give you some ways to step outside your comfort zone and overcome your fear, because we talked as a fear factor. So one is get comfortable with discomfort, right? Okay, so I'm in my comfort zone, I step outside, now I'm not comfortable, right? So make it a point to avoid running away from discomfort. No matter what you choose to do to step outside your comfort zone, it's not always going to be great. Sometimes it's going to be perfect, other times it's going to feel a little discomfort. Get used to that. And then second, see failure as a teacher, right? Because not all the times you're going to pass. That failure should be, rather than do nothing, take a shot at your dreams, and you may fail, but that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. And the last one, which I think most of us should do, and a lot of people may jump right to the big one, is to take baby steps. Don't try to I'm going to go jump out of an airplane. Maybe take that airplane ride first and then think about jumping out of it, right? So, but I would definitely take baby steps towards your fear that you're trying to overcome. So that's what stepping outside your comfort zone really is all about. So I'm going to leave you with a couple quotes from some people. And one is from Deltora McNeil, which someone posted that, which I really liked and I stole. I got to be honest with you, I didn't know who he was, so I had to look him up. And he's a famous speech guy that does a lot of public speaking around the world. He's got books out, he's got a television show. He's a pretty impressive guy. And he writes, your comfort zone was set up by the fear to keep you safe. Live your dreams and not your fears, right? And the next two characters that I want to leave you with and talk to you about, I've been following these guys. These two have been inspiring me since I was a little kid. It's Charlie Brown and Snoopy, right? So Charlie Brown and Snoopy, they're out and they're sitting on a log and they're getting ready to do something, and Charlie says to Snoopy, Snoopy, we only live once. And Snoopy turns to him and says, wrong, Charlie Brown. We only die once. We live every day. So I encourage all of you to go live every day and step outside your comfort zone. Thank you.